price on this one's $35,000 with an ARV of 75 to 80.
This is going to be a real good rental area.
You want great schools for your kids, a backyard for the kids to play in, a basement for storage. Those are the types of things that people think about. It's got all of those things. Most of the time they've been rehabbed at least once, new plumbing, new electrical, they've been updated. And if you were to use the 1% rule, I mean, think about that, to be a $600,000 appraisal and you're picking it up from the choose. Here's the taxes, here's the current days on market that we talked about.
Oh, this is one we're going
and here's the listing price, here's the original listing price. Make an offer where it makes sense for our numbers. I really don't care what they're asking. We're going to make an offer where the numbers make sense and where it caps out in cash flows. All these guys, they all do fabulous work. They're all honest, ethical, good, solid people that do a good job. Not only can I vouch for them, but we've had hundreds of clients that we've put through this exact same process.
As inspectors, we are going to see cracks, but whenever we see a horizontal crack, that's always something that we pay close attention to.
We're going to estimate what the after repaired value is going to be. We're going to estimate what the potential rents are going to be for you guys. That way you're going to have the data that you need to run preliminary numbers on the property and qualify the property.
Paragraph 8, loss. This is important. We want to protect ourselves whenever the property is in escrow. This paragraph addresses that.
Your HUD-1 is going to be your settlement statement. If they reject your offer, they're going to give you what's called a hard counter.
Electrical.
Okay, well there's an open ground upstairs where you see it's the tester that shows that there's an open ground. The downstairs tests it out, everything's proper.
Okay.
Both these yellow lights should be on this tester for a good complete circuit.
So the house is not grounded at all?
So the upstairs is not grounded properly.
And it doesn't mean that they're bad buildings, it just means a lot of the times they're going to require a lot more work.
From an investment standpoint, we're going to be focused on the panel. 1983 is when it was manufactured.
It's pricey enough to where it's not making sense for a lot of investors right now.
Okay.
It's 3/4 of the way done. It's not making sense for an owner-occupant because you can't move into it.
Put your lighting fixture in, take this out, reglaze the bathtub.
So it's 99, right?
It's 99.
It was built, manufactured in 99, so it probably was installed here in about 2000 maybe.
Yep, 99 and 2000.
This is all your monthly expenses right here. I'm pointing to on the screen. This annualizes it over here. So this is what it's going to cost to operate this property on a monthly basis. Every property I've ever bought, these are the numbers I've used. A lot of investors or a lot of trainers out there never even mention maintenance and vacancy and don't figure that into their equation. I absolutely think it's critical. We're in it for $66,000.
Let's assume that we're paying what they want, $49.9. Our cap rate's 8.25. Yeah, there's deals that are twice as good as this that are going to net you more money.
Long-term, sustainable wealth, that's just the way I'm programmed, the way that I think about things. But if it doesn't work out, don't just discard it and say, well, that one's out the window. Look at it for a wholesale opportunity or a flip opportunity.
And then if we drop down to our cash flow here, well, that's in total, that's $120 right there. So total, that property is going to bring you in $120 compared to some other properties that'll bring you in $300 or $350. So there's a lot better deals.
We did see about 3 properties today that I thought this would sell. You could buy, fix, and flip this rather easily. I can live where I want to live, but I can invest where it makes sense. I want you to know that I believe in all the different ways to find a deal. I don't care how it comes to me, but the easiest way, the lowest hanging fruit is the net. HPAPTS.com. Look at the information. Employment by industry, employment growth, population growth, top 10 private employers, the sales price versus the rent. This is the type of information that you need to make an educated decision.
Another thing that we can do is we can set up what's called auto searches for you guys. If you have a zip code that you like, we can go in and we can set up an automatic search, including any type of criteria, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, price range. You get an automatic email.
If you're going outside of your own comfort zone, your own backyard, you're not sure where to invest, city-data.com.
Depending on who owns the property is going to depend on how we make the offers. With the HUD properties, we're going to be making online bids.
We're going to have Chad and we're going to have Paul rate these properties on a 1 to 10 scale.
New floor, put new countertops up, put a new stove, icebox, dishwasher, the electric panel on the front porch. You're looking between $7,000 to $10,000 probably.
I'd probably give that house a 7. Some hardboard siding that was damaged and missing, the gutter boards and fascia, a little bit of rot. Otherwise, the interior of the house and the mechanical systems look really good.
Really good bones, good structure, good systems, all the systems, the roofing, everything's in good, solid condition. It's just a lot of cosmetic. These are the most common things that it's going to fail inspection. These are the things that we've gotten failed on. Contractors we work with know these things on the exterior that we look for, on the interior that we look for. 2 families, 4 families, more money down, but also more cash flow. You know, a 2-family or 4-family is going to cash flow more than a single-family home. So you've got to kind of weigh the positives and the negatives, the pros and the cons, and say, what is it that I'm looking for?
It's either finish work on the ceiling or the way they frame this up over the top here, that it kind of has a little bit of a bow to it.
My function is just to point out any type of problems or anything that I see, electrical, mechanical, structural flaws that's in the home.
That is nice.
You know, coming into a market that I'm not familiar with right off the bat is an advantage to have somebody to have already, you know, weeded out the properties, and then having the experts here to tell us, you know, what to look for and, you know, what things are going to cost is just enormous.
We've hand selected these properties, you know, before the investors come into town, and we have a real good idea that these are going to be good investments and they're going to make sense for these investors.
Chad starts off from the exterior, and I follow him around the exterior portions of the buildings, and with the brick buildings, he's actually taught us how to look for what brick needs over time.
The excitement on the bus and the excitement that this generates, it's really neat. And the resources that they brought together, whether it's myself or the contractor or just the legwork that they've done in advance of this team looking at the St. Louis area, it is really an impressive operation and organization.
Yes, yep, you got it here and there, so really you're going to want to budget here for replacement of the gutter boards and probably hanging new gutters.
That is pretty much invaluable for me to have a professional inspector and contractor, because now I know what they're looking at.
Settlement statement is going to break down all the costs, the purchase price, earnest money, all your origination fees.
On Fannie Mae, private-owned, broker-owned properties and bank-owned properties, we are usually going to expect counters.
I'm telling you guys, you have to get at least 2 bids. If you're wholesaling it, you're not doing anything to it. If you're renting these properties, it's a rental rehab. If it's a buy and flip, it's a totally different kind of rehab. And your contractor should know your exit strategy going in, because you're going to spend a whole lot more money on a flip rehab than you are if it's something that you're going to rent.
I think this is the most phenomenal way to learn anything about real estate and buying and selling real estate, because you're actually doing it. You're not just reading or listening about it, you're doing it.
I've liked a lot. I've got my everything lined up here, and I'll do some buying.